Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today, it's cold out here. We are going to take a little bit of a cold garden slash project tour, and we have some fun news. So of course, most of you know that this Saturday, December the 20th, is the final day for the garden center to be open in 2025. We are going to do a fun little intimate tour with Jenny and Jerry. So if you are in the area, or if you can be in the area, come see us at 10 a.m. this Saturday, December the 20th. We're going to meet at the garden center, and then we're going to walk over here to the house, and you're going to get a little glimpse into our brain on as far as how we have designed the new front yard gardens. Of course, you saw that big project that we did at the end of the summer. It is right over here on my left shoulder. But yeah, this is free. We're going to have one session at 10 a.m. Like I said, we're going to gather at the garden center and then walk over here. So you're going to literally walk with us, and you're going to be here in the driveway, and we're going to explain that whole process to you, kind of give you again a look inside of our brains as how we designed this space, because we completely revamped how our front yard looks. And so this is the great time of year to be thinking, planning, and implementing new gardens, new garden designs in your yard. So we thought it would be fun to kind of share that with us. So if you're interested, you don't have to RSVP, just come to the garden center this Saturday, December the 20th. We will meet at 10 a.m. and walk over. So also, one day only on December the 20th, the entire garden center is 20% off. So we did this kind of that Black Friday, I think it was Black Friday, where we had a recent sale that was online. So we offered this online, and now we're going to offer it here at the garden center. So for one day only on December the 20th, the entire garden center is 20% off. So whether you want to buy plants, maybe you want to buy some great shrubs, not a problem. Some perennials, not a problem. Some garden decor, like the cute little shroomies. If you're interested in the larger unique stone, I would encourage you to come, because it'll be 20% off. We do have, I think, a couple of power planters maybe. Of course, the fertilizers, all the Felcos, literally anything and everything at the garden center will be 20% off this Saturday, December the 20th. It's like a big hurrah, so we can say goodbye to 2025. So we look forward to seeing you. We'll be open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Just because the garden center is closing, does that mean that we're going to stop filming videos? No, that's right. We will still have our 5 videos each and every week. It's just that the garden center will close because, y'all, don't know if you've noticed, but it's a little chilly. It's a little frisky. This morning we got down to 13 degrees here in Dallas, North Carolina. Now I know that's probably a balmy, like a tropical heat wave to some of y'all with what y'all have been going through. But for us here in North Carolina, getting down to 13 is pretty cold. And in fact, tonight's going to be, I think it's what was going to be like in 20 something, a little warmer. And yeah, so this is why we're all decked out and standing in the sun, because the shade is quite chilly. But I do want to give you an update on the plants. So just really quick overview, because like I said, we did get down to 13 degrees this morning. Yesterday was very windy as all the cold air came in, because I think the high yesterday was like 55, and that was like at 5 a.m. and then it dropped. And so all of the plants that you see, they went through the 13 degrees and they did great. So if you're going to have a sudden kind of drop in temperature or experience really cold temperatures, the best thing you can do for your plants is to make sure that they are well watered. You don't really have to focus on covering them. It's just make sure that they are watered. So yesterday, Jerry and I were doing a bunch of running around, making sure that plants that either were newly planted or in pots, that they were well watered. That is the best way to protect those plants. And so these were the anemones, that I planted. Y'all were with me when I planted them. These are spring flowering bulbs, but it doesn't matter. They can handle this and they are just fine, but everything has done well. As we come this way, you'll notice that the pansies and the butterfly bushes, and the butterfly bushes look great. The pansies are a little limpy because they've been in the shade for a good bit of today, and so they are still, it is quite chilly over here. Yeah, it's cold over here. And you'll notice that like certain plants, like the pulmonaria right here, you know, it is looking, it is like, she's frozen, but she's fine, right? It is not a problem whatsoever. The Carexes are doing great. The Euphorbia, everything over here is doing well. Finally lost all my leaves on my Japanese maple. And then the mushrooms look pretty, that's right. So these are those little shroomies. So these are the little cute little garden decor that we have available at the garden center. Y'all, this is a fun way. So when Mimi and I were in here planting this garden, doing the kind of that final design, the shroomies actually mark where the French drain is. So that was Mimi's idea. She's like, Jimmy, let's put the shroomies on top of the French drain. So that way, when we stand here, I know that this is the path of the French drain, and not to plant too terribly deep because the cute little shroomies mark the way. But I mean, this is why I love Ascot Rainbow. Look at this, 13 degrees in the shade, and it is absolutely glorious. This is why this is a Creekside champion, because of how it performs right here. It is beautiful. It does it, same thing in the containers. So we've got the hay racks back there doing well. So then we come over here to the sunny side, which is where we want to go right now. Here in the cottage garden, I still have some cleanup that I could definitely do, because I have, I left my Agastache as long as I possibly could, my meteor shower verbena, left all those up so that the pollinators could have as much of an opportunity to munch on those as possible. I need to come in here and do some mulching, add some things, but you know what? That gives me something to do. And look at those fire chiefs. Are they not the coolest thing? I was sitting at the kitchen sink doing some dishes, and I looked out because we have the fire chief arborvitaes dotted throughout here, and I just love this color. It is a great winter color. These are evergreen. In the summertime, they are bright green with little copper tops, but this is where they have really bronzed over and are just fantastic, you know? So you can see them through there. You'll also notice that I have my my snowdrops are coming up, y'all. My little my spring flowering bulbs, you'll see them throughout here, and it is okay. Even though it was 13 last night, it's going to be 20, low 20s tonight. They are fine. These spring flowering bulbs, they pretty much have a good idea of what they're doing. And so this is not something that is abnormal to happen in the South, is where your spring flowering bulbs come up in December. Also, as a side note, y'all, this is the Princess Anne Rose Standard. It is a David Austin, and this thing has kept its leaves beautiful and green. Those of you that are faithful viewers, you may remember in late summer, because I had a purple fountain grass right here, and it was just kind of covering it up, and there was hardly not one leaf on this rose. It has flushed out. In fact, yesterday we had it had a lot of top growth on it, but because of all that crazy wind that I was telling you about, it was really rocking. So I came in yesterday and took all that top growth out that was catching the wind, made it a little bit more round, and it was nice and tight. But look at this beautiful green growth. I mean, that is just gorgeous, beautiful. So these roses are tough for sure. So if it, you know, it'll eventually lose its leaves, I would think. I don't know, she's happy, so we're just gonna leave her alone. Speaking of happy, look at the butterfly candy. This is Little Grape, and Little Grape is looking pretty awesome for going through a 13-degree night, having tons of cold wind hitting it yesterday. Very happy. And of course, with your butterfly bushes, your buddleias, we don't want to prune them right now. We're not going to prune our butterfly bushes until the spring, early spring. You start to see new growth popping out, then that's when you're going to give it a good little haircut. Now, am I going to cut this Little Grape a whole lot? No, I'm not, because it's a great size right now, but I do want to give it a little bit of a trim to encourage that new growth, because new growth on a butterfly bush means that you're going to have loads of flowers. And so little grape is doing quite well. Now, one thing, if you have your boxwoods, so these are some of the better boxwoods, and you might notice that I have some little blonde tips on this. The little blonde tips were because this was new tender growth. And when we had those cold nights, it actually happened before last night because we've been down into the low 20s. This young tender growth, it got fried because it was really new and tender. So I'm just leaving this alone, and then when we coming out of winter into spring, I will give it a little bit of a trim. Of course, we're going to fertilize it then, because with your shrubs, your perennials coming out of winter, going into spring, for me, that's sometime February, March, early April. We're going to give them a good little dose of slow release fertilizer, and they're going to be just fine. So if you have any boxwoods that have the tips that are burnt, don't worry about it. Now, if I wanted to come in here and cut it off, I certainly could. Would just make it look pretty. I probably will do that when I come in to clean up this bed, but don't freak out. Your boxwoods are going to be just fine right there. All right, now we're going to head up to the mailbox because we have a whole new project that we're going to be getting pretty soon here. So we're going to give you kind of a look into our mind's eye of some of the issues that you might face when you're doing a landscape project and how we're going to take care of them, and then our vision for that area. So let's head up to the mailbox. All right, so we were on our way walking up to the mailbox, and I was like, honey, let's stop and give them an update. So we planted all of our tulips. We're going to see that in tomorrow's video. But we did not film the tulips that we planted here at the house. So in this little area right here, we did 1,000 of the golden Prisma tulips from Color Blends. Did these last year along the side of the driveway, that long skinny bed. So we put 700 of them back in that bed, just like we did last year. And then I'm calling this the umbrella pine bed because we had that umbrella Japanese pine in here. There's 300 of the golden Prisma in here. Jerry and Jackson were in here, and they just randomly put holes in here, got them planted. So we're going to have 300 beautiful golden yellow tulips popping up here in the spring. Could not be happier, but everything in this bed is doing really well. Yes, the sedums look bad. 'Tis that time of year, it's fine. Then you've got the berry boxes over here. Look at those beautiful red berries, y'all. Look how pretty this is. Come on in here. So these are absolutely beautiful. Of course, right, they're evergreen, wider than they are tall shrub, but you've got those beautiful red berries. And then look at these. This is the little oh shoot, who's in here? I think it might be taffy. It's the raspberry one. So it's that kind of that really bright raspberry pink. So we've got 5 or 6 of them in here, and they are doing just fantastic, beautiful, lovely. So just wanted to give you an update on the umbrella pine bed as well. All right, my friends, so of course here we are up at our mailbox. This is the entrance to the house, to the nursery, and this is the area of the, well, I would say the next big project, but this that would be project, what I think, number 4. So this is the biggest landscape project, shall we say, that we're going to be doing over the next weeks and probably, honestly, months into the spring. This is going to be an ongoing project because it is a pretty large project. We are at the very end of Pine Hollow Drive. That's the road that we live on. That is where the nursery is. So the road ends and ends up onto our property. So we've talked about this before. If you missed that video, I will link it above so you can check out and get all the nitty-gritty details. But essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our mailbox. We're going to dig it up, and we're going to move it, and we're going to bring it forward and off the road because we need to make this road a little bit bigger so that we can get 2 cars. So cars can pass each other easily when they're coming and exiting the nursery. So the road's going to come a little bit further out because if you notice when the mailbox is kind of in the way of the entrance through the gate. So we're going to push it back so that we can extend the road about 3 to 4 feet. So it will be somewhere in this general area. And so what we're going to do is create a very large flower bed garden up here. We're going to tie in, of course, Mimi and Poppy, my parents live right here. We've been in Mimi's garden many times. We're thinking, I got to run it by Mimi first. Mimi, if you're seeing this video, we probably need to chit chat. But what we're thinking is connecting to Mimi's garden and creating this huge kind of a horseshoe garden that comes through here, goes past where the existing mailbox is, and then ties into the tree line kind of behind where Brenna is. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done because this is a low area. So we're going to have to build this area up, bring in a lot of good kind of topsoil, if you will. But this is our vision, is to have a beautiful display, a layered garden of evergreens, beautiful shrubs, whether they're evergreens or deciduous, flowers, fragrance, perennials, annuals, you name it. So when you come into Creekside, you know that you are about to enter into a beautiful area. So what we're thinking about is, while we have a couple of maybe specific plants in our brain, but not necessarily. So our vision is that where the mailbox is that will be a low area, right? As far as the plants go, so that you can see. So maybe we have on the front corner, that's where we're going to put some annuals. And then we'll build it up as far as the plant structure goes, so that we have, of course, our tallest with evergreens in the back. We may have a couple of deciduous trees in there. I'm thinking about like the Rocksteady Vitex would be gorgeous in here because this area does get a lot of sun, so it would be perfect. Maybe we put some tea olives a little bit closer to where it gets a little break in the afternoon, so we get some fragrance and some beautiful evergreen structure. Panicle hydrangeas would do great up here. Of course, perennial grasses, lots of things to attract all the pollinators. And then Mimi and I can kind of collaborate together as these two gardens meet and marry into one. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, as of right now, this area is not going to be on irrigation, does not have irrigation. So we will have to plant accordingly, thinking of plants that once they are established are pretty drought tolerant. Another thing we're going to have to think about when we are constructing this garden is the water flow, because I don't know if you can see up that we, of course, being Creekside, we are at the low spot. So water all flows down to us, and it historically wants to go kind of down here where Brenna is playing, and then we have this leaf pile right here. This is the lowest area, so when we get a ton of water, especially like this time of year, this tends to be a wet spot. So we're going to have to make sure that we can kind of direct the water where we want it to go. Or if we can't, let's put that water maybe in an area and then plant accordingly. Maybe we put some of those summerific hibiscus in there. Maybe we put plants that just love to have those great wet feet. Some winter berries would be perfect up here as well for some winter interest. So lots of fun possibilities, things to think about. Brenna has found a rock that she is picking up and carrying. It's never a dull moment with this dog around here. And the colder it is, the crazier she gets. So just to kind of give you an idea of some glimpses into our brains of some projects that are happening. Of course, we already have the dock that's being built. We have the barn expansion that's going on. In tomorrow's video, you're going to hear of another little project that we did kind of not really on the fly, but it was kind of on the fly at the garden center. So if you come to the garden center on Saturday, you may see things look a little bit differently. And then of course, this project that will be happening this winter into spring. Lots of fun here. But we would love for you to come see us on Saturday, December the 20th. That is this Saturday, to take a tour with us through the house gardens. And then of course, to do a little shopping, whether it's for yourself or someone in your life. The whole entire store is 20% off. We look forward to seeing y'all. Y'all stay warm out there. See you on Saturday. Bye, friends.